Ladies and gentlemen.
I haven't really heard what Jeremy says because I got my 2 Stanley Cup rings right in my ear.
Introduce.
This is a guy that's going to be traded, though. You're an announcer with a long stick from time to time.
You think it's my fault? Is that what you're saying? This guy's such an idiot here.
The Puck Luck Fantasy Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Puck Luck Fantasy Podcast. I'm your host, Derek Sudemans, and today I'll be breaking down the 2-game slate that actually stretches across today and tomorrow. Make sure you check out our website, puckluckfantasy.com. We have lots of skater and stack rankings on there, some goalie rankings, lots of great tools that will help you build your lineups. So definitely check that out. And while you're there, throw in your email so we can keep you updated. We're going to have lots of updates roll through the summer, and as well as you'll be eligible for a discount on a subscription for next season. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter and follow us on your favorite podcasting platform and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That being said, we will jump into the first game, which will be the game of tonight, which is between the Jets and the Predators. So we're expecting Connor Hellebuyck will be playing against Pekka Rinne tonight. Now, tonight in general is another night when all the goalies are around the same value. There's only a little bit of real separation between them. And so for tournaments, that means anyone is playable, which is nice because that opens up your options a little bit. But we really do like Rinne a little bit, definitely for cash. Vasilevsky will edge out Rinne a little bit, but Rinne is definitely still playable. So that being said, we can move on to the stacks from this game. There's definitely a couple that stand out, and there are a couple very valuable lines as well as defensemen. So the main one and the overall best line of the night is going to be the second line from the Jets. So that's the line with Nikolai Ehlers, Paul Stastny, and Patrik Laine. Now, they have been pretty much ice cold for most of these playoffs. They have been producing a little bit, but definitely lower than they normally do. And because of that, their price has been dropping. So I'm hoping that their price has hit the rock bottom point and that they'll have a big night tonight. They should be fairly moderately owned. I'm not sure exactly how much people will be on them because they are pretty cheap now, and they're still a pretty. They got a lot of name recognition value with that line with Laine on there, so they might be fairly higher owned than I anticipate. But I'm hoping they'll be fairly low owned, and I'll be getting a ton of them into my lineups. They work really well with both Dustin Byfuglien and Tyler Myers as well, which gives you even more flexibility. So I do like Byfuglien more, but you can definitely go Myers. He still pairs with Ehlers from their second line, so that's how that works. But I'll mainly be going with Dustin Byfuglien to pair with them. The top line for the Jets is really more just of a bubble play for me. They're still fairly valuable, but really I'm going to be targeting the second line tonight and hoping that the top line will sort of just be more doing the checking duties, although they might be going off too if because I don't really like Nashville's shutdown line if they use the Bonino line, but we still are going to be targeting the second line, so hopefully the first line will be a little bit more quiet tonight. I do like Kyle Connor, though, as more of a cash one-off, definitely. He's the most valuable individual one on that line. All right, and then on the other hand, we have a few lines that you can play from Nashville. The top one, I'm going to go with their top line. Although since they had a big night in their last game, they're definitely going to see a lot more ownership tonight. So that sort of decreases their value as well once you take that into consideration. But we still definitely like them. They come in just a hair behind the second line, actually. And that's because the second line is just ridiculously cheap tonight. So they really haven't been producing at all. We saw Hartnell had taken Kevin Fiala's place for a little while, but once Mike Fisher got injured, Kevin Fiala is back up there now, it looks like. So I'm going to be targeting that line because they pair very well with Roman Josi, and he is significantly higher than any other defenseman tonight in terms of value. So if you want to go that second line plus Josi, that is a great play. You can also do the top line, but that would go with PK Subban. I'm not as high on PK Subban. He's finally coming back up in price a little bit. He's at 5.5K, but he's definitely in the top like third or so that he's definitely still playable if you're going to be taking that top line. I like Forsberg and Arvidsson almost the same amount in terms of individually from that line. Johansson, I sort of pulls down the value just a slight amount, but really both of those two are cash playable as well. And that pretty much wraps it up from this game. You can also play Ryan Ellis in terms of a defenseman. He goes very well with that second line as well on their power play unit. So he's another sneaky play. You could even use him and Yossi together. As we mentioned on the last episode, this is one of those few times where that could actually work, since they are together at both even strength and on the power play. All right, so let's move on to the next game, which will be between the Washington Capitals and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And we are expecting that Braden Holtby will be in net against Andrei Vasilevsky. Now, Vasilevsky is our top goaltender of the night since they're at home. We really like his value. They should get the win. The only problem is Washington doesn't shoot a ton, so especially on the road. So that's why he's dropped in value since compared to other nights, is what I really mean, because we've seen he's been quite a bit ahead of the pack in terms of value, but he's finally sort of came down into the range of where everyone else is, which is why I said there's not much separation in terms of goalies. But he is going to be my favorite goalie in terms of cash. Not my favorite tournament goalie, but definitely if you're doing cash tonight, Vasilevsky will be the go-to guy. Holtby is more of a tournament play because Tampa Bay will shoot the puck a ton. So if Braden Holtby sees a ton of saves, plus he'll be super low owned, that's definitely more of a tournament play, and I do like that play. The only problem is he doesn't super pair well with many of the lines. This is one of those sort of situations where it's going to really depend on if Nicholas Backstrom is back or not, because if he's not back, that really will change my approach. We've seen that in his absence, Lars Eller has basically just come in and replaced him. They've also moved Devontae Smith-Pelly down to the third or fourth line now, and they've moved up Stevenson to fill that spot with Ovechkin and Kuznetsov. So if Stevenson does stay up on that top line, I really like them as a unit. They come in at a very good price, so I will be targeting them if he does stay up there, and they also go well with John Carlson. But I also really like that second line if Backstrom's not back. They have Jacob Vrana now up on that line with Lars Eller and TJ Oshie, and then Eller is also getting the first power play unit time. So if he's in there, you're definitely going to need him. He's going to be a staple in your cash lines, but definitely even for tournaments, you're going to want to get some of that exposure if you can work that in. You can definitely pair Carlson with them as well. So both of those lines are playable for sure. They're both going to be undervalued. You're just going to have to keep an eye on the Backstrom situation and be ready to adjust. All right, and that will do it for the Capitals side. On the Lightning side, there are a couple lines. Now, I'm not sure exactly what their lines are going to be either, because I have read that they might be pushing Braden Point up into the top line. Although that might just be on their top power play unit. We see it's Stamkos, Kucherov, and Miller. They have been gone a little bit cold, though, so we'll have to see what they do. But I read definitely that Killorn will be replaced by Point on their top power play unit, which puts him in play, especially if you're doing sort of a power play stack. I don't tend to do power play stacks, but this is a night where they are pretty valuable, so the whole power play unit could be used. You could use the entire thing. So Stamkos, Kucherov, and Miller gives you your first line, and then you got Hedman, and you can put Point on there because both of those players are super high rated individually. And so that makes a decent play for tonight. We also like the second line. So even if we like Andre Palat, Point, and Johnson together, they are very valuable. We've seen that they've been sort of used as their shutdown line, which means they will be going up against the Ovechkin line. But the thing is, that's almost better because the Ovechkin line is worse defensively than the Backstrom line. So although if Backstrom's not in play, then all of their lines are pretty much this very weak defensively. So what you're going to be wanting to do is keep an eye on that. But I like both the top lines from the Lightning, and Hedman is a great play as well. I wouldn't go down to Sergachev because his ice time has been sort of it's been inconsistent because he is sort of the rookie there. So some nights he'll get a decent amount of ice time. Other nights they won't play him at all. So I'd be a little bit hesitant. I'm just going to be going mainly to Victor Hedman tonight. That really does wrap up the games, so I'm going to move on to the Puck Luck picks of the day. So this is where I give you 4 players in sort of 4 different tiers of prices in terms of overall value. The top pick of the day, I'm going to go with Philip Forsberg. So he's up to 6.7K, but that's still pretty cheap for him. He's been generating a ton of offense, so he's a great pick up at that top range. I like Roman Josi at 5.1K. That's really, really cheap for him, so make sure he's a staple in your cash. I like Nick Ehlers at 4.4K. That's really, really cheap for him. And then Kevin Fiala at 3.8K is my super cheap pick of the day. My favorite stack for tonight is going to be the Line A Ehlers and Stasny line. And then my favorite mini stack is going to be Josi and Kevin Fiala. All right, and that will wrap things up. I'm going to remind you to once again check out our website, puckluckfantasy.com. We got lots of great tools that'll help you build your lines, so check that out. Throw in your email while you're there so we can keep you updated. And then also subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and find us on your favorite podcasting platform. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.